Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. The title of today's video is the 3 small business must-haves that you're missing. And we're going to talk about those today from a level of personal experience, not theory. So let's look at number 1. The first important thing you must have, you must be able to tell your customers how you're going to solve their problems. And remember, you are a small business. We understand you have a small staff and probably small budgets. The things that we talk about telling your customers, you have to be very committed to from the owner through your staff. When you speak to your company, whether it's a product you're selling or a service, let's say you are selling a landscaping business. Every time you speak to a customer, you run an ad or you post some sort of social media advertisement, you have to tell people exactly how you're going to satisfy them by solving a problem that they have. You can't be vague. You can't leave them wondering if you miss it. You've got to come across with a voice of expertise and a voice of confidence that you know what they need and you can answer those needs. Anytime you speak to your customers or anyone on your staff speaks to a customer, you must take the approach that you are the experts in the field. Now, small businesses, they're a very large population, and they're probably, if you were a landscaper, they're probably 20 within your local area. You have to stand out through your own knowledge and your own projection of strength and confidence and know-how. Let's say you're a small accounting firm. You must make sure that you are as professional as you can possibly be in every customer contact. And that has to also pass down to every one of your employees. You have to project that image of the person or the business they want to deal with. So now let's look at point number 2, and it is this. You must be able to deliver a great customer service experience. If in all business across this country, you had research from consumers and they named their number 1 complaint, more than likely it would be poor customer service. You're a small business. You're going to have certain people speaking to customers. That group of people are going to be the voice of your company. It doesn't matter what you have to do, if you have to lecture, if you have to force, if you have to train, no matter what you do, everyone, if they're a counter person or a telephone person or an in the field person, they have to deliver a great customer level experience. People want to be cared about when they're giving you their money for a service. There are times that your customer experience can make up for a mistake or can make up for an untimely execution. Remember, we talked in a couple of videos ago about bad news is your first news. If you're a small business and you have a scheduling problem, say something's out of sync and you know you're going to miss a delivery date or an appointment, you must get in front of that. You have to get out to your customers and explain it and be honest. Don't try to play games with your customers. Level with them. Tell them exactly what the circumstances are. And more than likely, when you do that, they'll be much more understanding. Now, they may not be happy. You may lose a customer, but you will never lose in the long run if you are just absolutely honest, direct, and straightforward with your customers about problems. When you deal with the customer, your staff, yourself, your admin people, your counter people, and your field people, they must listen. It's one of those things that just is so simple and hardly ever gets done properly. Don't have your staff and your workers or any of your employees talking when they should be listening. Make sure that they're not geared up to speak, but they are geared up to listen, be thoughtful, and respond. Now, I know these are a little bit higher level things than most small businesses, many of us have experienced. To be very honest with you, it's not that difficult to teach these things. It's not that difficult to get this kind of thought across your staff and to implement it. It takes focus. It takes a consistent voice from the leadership of this small company. And you just have to make sure that everyone understands the importance of it. Now, let's look at must-have number 3 you could possibly be missing. And that very important must-have is never miss an opportunity to follow up with your customers. If you're in the middle of a job and you can possibly swing a call, but better yet, a visit, make sure you contact that customer. This simple step builds the relationship, and it builds a positive relationship with everyone involved. When you're a small business and you take the time to reach out to a customer, they suddenly say, this person, these people took the time to call me in the middle of the job to make sure everything was going right. I've had people call after an appointment was set, just a follow-up call, say, did my guys get there? Are my employees on site? Are they prepared? When I get that call, my reaction is I am immediately dealing with someone who is professional, someone who has gone down this road before, and someone who will probably listen if I have an issue. These things are not budget busters. These things are focus issues, and they pay huge dividends to all of us who have run small businesses. And let me restate this. I'm not speaking from business theory. I'm talking about my experience. I worked for a couple of very large companies early on in my career, Johnson & Johnson and Unilever. And I got great core training that was focused on the marketing plan and the overall business direction of those large corporations. When I went to work for a small consumer products company in Chicago, we set up our own internal environment. In other words, our company culture was driven off of open and honest communications. What that did was it set my mind into the place of talking to my customers directly, openly, and not holding anything back. Those are the kind of things that set you apart from all your competition. Never fail when you finish a job to follow up a week, 10 days, maybe a couple days later with that customer. And when you call, don't call with the high expectation that everything's going to be great and you're just going to get off the phone and move to the next one. Call with an open mind. Call with the idea of, I want to make sure this was done right. And if it's not, show concern, show empathy to them, and tell them you are going to make this right. You personally are going to make this right. That's how small businesses become medium businesses, and they become much more profitable as they move from small to medium. Some of these companies become large businesses because they start with the fundamentals of sound customer relations, sound follow-up, and principled behavior by everyone within the company. Now let me give you just a couple of real-world examples, and we're going to draw some comparisons with things that are going on in the world today. When we talk about customer service, the biggest problem is I never get to talk to a person. Budgets are slashed, people are condensing, people are going full tilt onto automated services, AI-driven automation typically. If your small business can maintain a personal contact with your customers, you are a step ahead of everyone else. Now, if you can maintain that empathetic and that professional connection to your customers, you're leaps ahead. Those are very important things for you to remember in any training or any just general conversation you have with your team. Tell them about the importance of it. But don't just tell them, show them. Demonstrate this skill and this important trait or these traits every time you talk to a customer, every time they see you having an exchange with a customer in the field or on the telephone or in your office. Show these positive traits. So now let's talk about a couple of real world examples. And let's use YouTube as our base of conversation here. The YouTube world is one of the most valuable tools I believe that exists today. Many people are looking at YouTube to solve problems and to answer questions. They can go to a video on most anything. You want to figure out how to change the spring on a washing machine door, go to YouTube. You want to figure out how to set the timing on your 66 Chevy Classic pickup, go to YouTube. Stop it, start it, watch it over and over, and get the information to solve your problem. That's the benefit of the YouTube world. There's so many people who do these kind of things. All that information is there. If you and your small company just become that one resource who delivers on those promises of solving that customer's problem, making sure that you follow up with them and delivering to them a great experience, you are far and away ahead of most of your competition. Now, let's go back to YouTube one more time. Think about the advice channels on YouTube. How many influencers or YouTube gurus are there out there? When people like me want to get information or advice on how to do a better job with their YouTube channel, there are hundreds of people giving you advice on how to get views, how to blow up your channel. And the advice is all over the board. It is set your videos to private, set your videos to unlisted. Don't worry about any of that. Your videos are usually so small, the algorithm can solve it immediately. How do you know which one of those to do? There are so many people who look in the camera and they talk about things. They give you their opinion. And if you step back, much of it is the same kind of rehashed subject matter, just delivered with a different voice. How does that relate back to your company? There may be a lot of people in that example we used of a landscape company or an accounting firm or just a small hardware store. There are many competitors. There are a lot of voices out there. And yes, of course, pricing is always a very important point. But when you get past the level of examining price as a go or no-go level, the thing that really counts is information and the relationship. How do you relate to your customers? And how do they respond to how you treat them? Are you solving their problems? Are you making sure that you deliver a great experience every time they talk to you or walk into your business? And are you making sure that they have an absolute positive feeling after you follow up with them? Now, in many cases, you can't make the call. If you're in the retail business, it would be a little difficult to make a follow-up call on every visit. But if you're in any kind of service or any kind of advice business, you can do that. You should be building records of your customers. You should have files that give you ways to contact them and give you an opportunity to speak to them. When you do that, you are building your future business with these customers. You're demonstrating that you're the people they need to talk to. You're the people they should spend their money with. If you take the time to just sit back and examine what happens when someone comes to your business, it will help you understand how to improve that. Here's a small test. Have a friend, have someone that you know and you trust call up your business. Ask for advice. Ask for pricing. Ask for how long it would take to get something done. Ask questions that demonstrate their expertise, their ability to solve a problem, and their overall ability to give that customer a great experience. Then examine it. Sometimes it can shock you. At other times it will make you say, this is really good and we can make it that one step better to make our business really grow. Because what we're in this entire exchange about in business is to grow that business. You want your business to grow in number of customers, probably in number of employees, but more than anything, you want that business to be profitable and have longevity. In other words, you want your business to be highly successful. It can start with some very simple execution issues. As a leader, you've got to take charge of this, and you've got to make sure that everyone in your company understands how these 3 small steps can make your business incredibly strong and make it grow. I hope today's video helps you. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them in this video. If you like the video, please hit the like button. And if you would like notification of new content, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So until next week, when we get together with a little more consulting advice, I hope you have a great week. Take care of yourselves. We will see you again soon. Bye-bye.